Good evening and welcome to Believers in Beauty, Wellness Simplified. I want to thank you for joining us, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. If you have not already, type in the chat who invited you and where you might be patching in from. And also share the love tonight by clicking on the share button so that your family, friends, clients, coworkers can join in with us tonight. Tonight's Wellness Simplified will include some of Mary Kay's relaxing products, as well as our very special guest this evening, Dr. Christine Wakefield. You want to wave, Christine? Can you share, Christine, what was the best part of your day today?
I think hanging out with my 16-year-old and having some good chats about where our future is going to be. We're kind of up in the air with some changes and trying to decide if we should move or not. So it was really good just to connect in with him and get some straight, honest answers.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
He's a neat kid. I really appreciate that. Well, and I would probably have to say that the best part of my day was when the electricity finally came on and we had heat and I could take a hot shower. So, absolutely. So let's begin by introducing you to some of our Mary Kay relaxing products and the joy of wellness simplified. First up, we have Mint Bliss. The Mint Bliss energizing lotion for feet and legs. Give your legs and feet a treat. The Mint Bliss energizing lotion for feet and legs moisturizes tired legs and feet and instantly helps them feel revived. I love it that you can put it over sheer stockings or nylons as well. And for a pick-me-up during the day, I love to rub it on my temples, on the back of my neck. And if you are someone that is on their feet all day long, whether male or female, this is a product for you. Our next product that is relaxing of our Mary Kay line is our nourishing oil. Naturally nourishing oil, a sweet treat derived from nature, certified for confidence. The naturally oil is a wonderful addition to any face or body lotion. It adds a yummy almond scent. However, it's not overwhelming and can be used as standalone oil on the ends of your hair, your cuticles, elbows, and face as well. Next up is another one of our non-gender products. This is our Lifting Biocellulose Mask. Talk about a Korean beauty booster. See a visible lift in just 2 weeks. For as little as 20 to 30 minutes of me time, a non-gender product that is derived from coconut water. You and your loved one can mask together, creating your very own special spa experience. Hydro eye patches. The hydrogel eye patches are these lovely pink pick-me-up petals that deliver a fresh burst of hydration to the eyes in 10 minutes. I love that they are cooling and soothing and help to diminish the look of puffiness and dullness. Because of the fact that they too are non-gender, you and your special loved one would be able to enjoy these products and relaxing together as well. Now, I have the honor and privilege of introducing Believer in Beauty's special guest, Dr. Christine Wakefield. Before we hear from her, let me just share with you a little bit about her. Dr. Christine has been in private practice for 23 years, completing and receiving her chiropractic science degree at Northwestern Health Sciences University in Bloomington, Minnesota. Christine has additional expertise in energy work, including muscle testing, craniosacral therapy, Reiki, and bioenergetic synchronization technique, better known as BEST. In 2017, Dr. Wakefield added certified functional medicine practitioner to her skill set, and she has been able to combine these thought processes and skills into one system of assessment and treatment with a goal to balance the nervous system, optimize all bodily functions, and create total harmony within the body and the mind. Her bachelor's degree is in zoology and she has found her protocols work extremely well on animals too. Yes, you heard that right, on animals too, particularly the BEST and craniosacral therapy. These therapies can make a world of difference in health, attitude, and behaviors. Dr. Christine was the first professional that was referred to me when I moved to South Dakota 13 years ago, and I feel that I have had a great working relationship with Christine in and out of the office. So I'm excited to have you join us, Dr. Christine. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm excited to talk about my favorite topic, stress and the nervous system, and taking care of yourself, and the things that you can do on your own to take care of yourself on an ongoing basis. And I love the title of this. I love the concept of Wellness Simplified. I think that there are some extremely simple things that you can and should be doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And so we're going to talk about some of those things. So here's a very simple question. Do you think that self-care, like some of the things that Lisa mentioned and using some of the products that she mentioned, do you think that that can affect your health? I think you'll probably say yes, absolutely, it can affect your health. But I'm wondering, do you know why or how that works? Any guesses? It works through your nervous system. So what does your nervous system control? It controls how fast you breathe, your digestion of food, your blood pressure, muscle tone and tension, basically everything that happens anywhere in your body at every moment of the day. So this evening, we're going to talk about the autonomic nervous system, what it is, how it works, how you can positively affect it, and what that can mean for your health. So your autonomic nervous system, it's comprised of three parts. And the first part is the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight response. If you all of a sudden ran into a tiger when you are out on your morning walk, what do you think would happen to your body? Well, your heart rate would speed up, your blood pressure would rise, your breathing would increase, your digestion would shut down because you're not going to want to poop at that moment, right? And your muscles would tense to prepare to fight the tiger or run from it. That all happens thanks to your sympathetic nervous system. The second part is the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the part that's in charge of healing, rest, and homeostasis. Everything with the parasympathetic nervous system is calm, your heart is at a resting rate, your breathing is relaxed, your muscles are relaxed, and your digestion is slowly but surely working at the exact rate to absorb the nutrients, reabsorb the fluid, and form the exact right shape and consistency of the next bowel movement. The third part of your autonomic nervous system is called the enteric nervous system, and that is just the part that's particularly pertaining to digestion. So we're going to talk mostly about sympathetic and parasympathetic, and knowing that the digestion is worked in there as well. So one of the things that I like to talk about, because a lot of people don't really understand this, is that there can be subconscious triggering of the fight or flight response. So if you were 3 years old and you were watching TV and you could hear your parents in the kitchen arguing in the background, it probably wouldn't be a memorable event, but somehow your subconscious brain would connect what's happening on the TV with confrontation, which puts you into fight or flight. So now, whenever you're faced with certain innocuous circumstances in your daily life, it's going to remind your subconscious of that scenario, and your body is going to be put into a fight or flight response without you knowing it, because it wasn't anything conscious that you came into contact with, no danger that you saw, nothing that you felt. So being a chiropractor for 23 years, I did a lot of adjusting. Adjusting is great for maintaining the nervous system, maintaining the function of the central nervous system, keeping everything in balance and all of the nerves going where they need to go. But I would find that even if I would add and talk to my patients about nutrition, I felt like we were doing all of these things that should be able to get them to relax, their muscles to relax, their adjustments should be holding. And with some people, it just wasn't. So I added bioenergetic synchronization technique, or BEST, into my practice. The entire technique is based on clearing those subconscious emotional reactions to things that we are unaware are happening. And when I do that, I can find a lot more relaxation through the muscles. People hold their adjustments better, people feel less stress, all of that. So I'm just very passionate, because I've seen with my patients how big of a deal keeping that parasympathetic control and not to be in fight or flight all the time. It can just make such a difference with health and with their lives. So keeping your nervous system calm and functioning properly will affect your anxiety level, your feelings of stress and overwhelm, your digestive issues, which I talked about. It can affect your blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure, doing some self-care that we're going to talk about, and emotional, keeping all of your emotions, including subconscious emotions, in check can actually help lower that blood pressure, because you won't be in that state of fight or flight. It can help with your sleeping, because remember, if you're in your parasympathetic nervous system, you're going to be in that resting, calm, healing state. And just many, many other benefits to keeping your autonomic nervous system functioning the way that it should function, because you want to be in fight or flight if you are faced with something that is true danger. Now, in our lives these days, we have very little of that, but yet we are all living in a state of fight or flight because of all of the little stresses and pressures that add up, and we're not conscious of releasing those throughout the day. So, what can you do to affect the nervous system and keep your body functioning optimally? So these are some methods of soothing and balancing the autonomic nervous system. And the very first one, the very easiest one, is breathing. So obviously we all breathe all through the day, all through the night, but we tend to do some very shallow breathing. And doing some deeper breathing, doing relaxed breathing, particularly when your mind is focused on your breathing, it allows the parasympathetic nervous system to take over for the sympathetic. So it automatically puts you back in that state of rest. relaxation, healing. And it's such a simple thing to do. The biggest challenge is just remembering to do it. So I want to have you do an experiment, if you would, for me. I want you to sit comfortably and close your eyes. And I want you to take a deep breath in and count to 4, then hold it to a count of 4. I want you to exhale slowly for 4, and then hold that for 4. So let's do that one more time. I want you to breathe in to a count of 4. Hold your breath in for 4. Exhale to a count of 4. And hold it out for a count of 4. Now open your eyes. Do you feel any different? Do you feel more relaxed and balanced? And is that something you can see yourself doing in the middle of a stressful day? Again, I think it's super easy to do it, and you will feel a difference in your body. It's just a matter of remembering and stopping in the moment. And I think the more self-awareness, the more self-care you do, it helps you remember to do those things for yourself. So one part of, like I said, self-awareness and attention can create some huge benefits is giving different parts of our body attention. Basically, every part of your body. It doesn't have to be every part all at once, but in particular, I think I've seen in my practice with elderly people that they've never really thought much about their feet. So thinking about the Mint Bliss lotion, I think just of all the benefits of not only what's in the lotion for your feet and legs, but also just the fact that you are thinking about those parts of your body, sending energy to those parts of the body. I think that it can keep your circulation better. It can keep movement of the little intricate bones and muscles functioning better. I've seen in my practice that when people give attention to the parts of their body that they are having trouble with, if they would have given attention to those parts, they probably wouldn't be having the problems they're having. And so just to create that energy in every part, I think is just super important. I'm guessing that a lot of you might use affirmations as part of your daily routine. Affirmations significantly reduce activity of the sympathetic nervous system. They're kind of like the opposite of worry. Sometimes your body doesn't know what you're really experiencing and what you're thinking about. So if you're constantly working on positive, telling yourself positive things, it's going to help your entire nervous system. It's going to help your overall health. It's going to help anxiety. It's going to help digestion. It's going to help your cardiovascular system. So I think those affirmations are super important, not just for getting you to the goals that you want to reach, but for your body and your health in general. If you're struggling with affirmations, I have a favorite kind of technique to use. I don't know how many of you have heard of EFT or tapping. It's pretty big right now, so you've probably all heard of it. The interesting thing, there's different kind of like meridian systems, different points that you tap on, but the true secret of that technique is in setting up your statement. So where an affirmation would be, I'm living the life that I dream, and making the money that I want. That's not really a good affirmation, but I didn't have one prepared. But EFT and tapping, you get to say things like, even though I weigh 20 pounds more than I would like to weigh, I love and accept myself exactly how I am. And you go and you tap on the different points while you are saying that affirmation. And sometimes I really like that, because you are owning what you see as the truth, and you're saying you love and accept yourself because of that, not really in spite of that, but just including those things. So occasionally when you say positive affirmations, your body and your nervous system may react in a way that you can tell you're resistant to it. And so if you can set it up a different way, I think that it works really well sometimes. So those are some things you can look into and think about doing on your own. There's also people, providers that you can consult with that do a variety of techniques that help your nervous system and your stress level and keeping you in that rest and relaxation mode. And some of them are pretty basic that you know about: massage therapy, going to a mental health therapist. Just talking about your issues helps calm that whole sympathetic nervous system. I mentioned chiropractic. A lot of people think of chiropractic as neck pain and back pain. Those are really just the signals that something is off. Where the true power of chiropractic is in reconnecting the central and peripheral nervous system. So right now there's a gal in Australia doing just a ton of studying of what that looks like, how chiropractic in general, regardless of what technique you do, where you're adjusting, just if you're adjusting and loosening up and taking pressure off, that the nervous system can respond in a way that then helps it create that homeostasis, that parasympathetic rest and relaxation. So that's kind of my favorite part of chiropractic. I don't really love low back pain. So then I mentioned the technique that I do, which is called BEST. And again, that taps into the subconscious emotional reactions to our normal daily life and helps release those so that we can respond appropriately to our present environment. I've recently started doing, not me doing with my patients, but I've recently been doing as a client, something called TRE, which is tension release or trauma release exercises. And it's super interesting because it fatigues your muscles in a way that then your body starts kind of shaking and vibrating to release old tension that's being held in your body, old emotions, all of that. I'm just super fascinated with that. Some therapists do techniques called brain spotting or EMDR, where you're tapping into the nervous system to clear emotional, again, emotional responses that you don't even know are happening. And those techniques get amazing results as well. I'm not totally going to, I'm just going to touch on diet and supplements. In addition to the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, we have something called the HPA axis. It's the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal communication loop. And that is key to affecting our, our fight or flight versus healing mode as well. And some of the supplements that I use are called adaptogens, and you may hear about that from different companies or just out there in the world. Adaptogens are typically herbs. They can be other substances, but they are very good. They give your body and calm your body into being able to balance very well between the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So things like ashwagandha, rhodiola, it can really make a difference with your hormone levels, cortisol, adrenal response, all of that. So that is a really good place to look as well for calming stress. So again, if you started doing some of these things in your life as part of your self-care, what kinds of things could be different and affected positively? Your mood could be different. You could more easily handle stress, be less irritable, less frustrated, less angry. Your digestion would most likely be improved. Cardiovascular system, like I said, your heart rate, your blood pressure, circulation throughout your body if you have cold hands and feet. And then body pain and tension. I mentioned low back pain. A lot of that can be just stress and tension in those muscles holding. Giving your low back or wherever you have soreness in your body, just giving it some love, touching it, thinking about it, connecting with it, can just make a world of difference. So, and then if you think about what of those things can be different, and if they're different, how would that affect your life overall? Again, would you be more patient with your children? Would you be able to focus on your work and keep your productivity up? Would you be more positive in general? I'd like you to really consider adding some of these techniques to your day and possibly adding some therapies like massage, chiropractic, and other energy work. I think that you'd really see some differences in your life in a lot of ways. So I wish I could ask if there's any questions on any of that. You can sure ask questions in the Facebook group, and we'll do what we can to answer.
There are a couple questions, Christine.
Okay.
And the first thing I wanted to comment, when you said that about the mint bliss, during this time of COVID, I've had some of my elderly clients who haven't been able to go out and haven't been able to walk, and I have sent them the mint bliss because of the neuropathy in their feet,
Yeah,
and not being able to get the sensation back. And because they're only walking in the small environment where they are, it's like what you said, they're giving that part of their body a little bit more of love.
mm-hmm.
For some that don't necessarily know what tapping is, but they have purchased the nourishing oil for me, I've had them use it, just place a little bit on their temple, and then every time they touch it, they'll know they're in the right area.
Oh, right.
And they can use that as their contact point, or wherever else, they can learn a little bit more, and just for all different types of health reasons. But one of the questions is that, how can you clear the subconscious experience in a session?
How do I do that?
Yes.
When I work on people?
Yes.
Well, through tapping into the nervous system. So there's the technique that I use uses different emotional words, and I'm able to tap into the body and ask it yes and no questions and find a negative word and then followed by a positive word that will help clear that. But in the way that I clear it, there are points that I touch on the head that relate to the brain, and I just ask the body to tell me what those points are. I mean, through yes and no questions. So the points on the body, the positive word, eye position, which kind of goes in with brain spotting and EMDR. So I might say, close your eyes and look down into the left with your eyeballs. So that eye movement will access a certain part of the brain. I will have them breathe like that 4 square breathing that I taught you. Or they may hold their breath, or they may breathe out and hold. And then, like I said, I touch those points. And so I can tell, say I'm touching 2 forehead points and I'm having you eyes closed, looking down, take a deep breath in and hold it. Think of the word accepting. Oh, and there's a number too, which I can't really explain. Nobody can really explain, but the number has something to do with it. And so I'll have you think of the number 7, and you'll do that. And I will feel when they synchronize, it's not the pulse like the blood pressure, but it's an energetic pulse that I can feel, because I've done this for so long. And so when that clears, you let the breath out, reset. And that's just, each time I would do that, that's one little glitch in the nervous system. So with my, and not that I'm really here to promote myself, but with my education in functional medicine, I have found that I still, more than anything, love accessing through the energy work. And so I can ask people's bodies whatever questions I have. And the more knowledge I have about how the body works, the more I can tap in at a cellular level, or through the nervous system, or different layers of the organs, and find those emotional glitches that are within, like the weirdest areas of the body. So it's really interesting and really fun.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for drawing that all around. And you were talking about EMDR, and I have a couple clients actually who've had really great success with it. One that suffers from PTSD, and PTSD isn't limited to military, and I think sometimes people have a misconception on that.
Yeah.
So the EMDR, is that something that you do in your office as well?
No, I don't. EMDR is done through mental health therapists, and for whatever reason, most of my best friends are therapists. I'm not quite sure what that says about me, but but I have experienced it as a patient, and it's the eye movement desensitization. It's tapping into the brain and the nervous system through your eye movement, or you can sometimes hold on to these little buzzers and it just goes back and forth, and it's the most relaxing thing ever. I could just sit there and not think about anything and just hold those little buzzers that go back and forth, and it just totally calms my nervous system.
Thank you. That was a really great explanation further for someone who might be wanting to look into that as well.
Yeah.
And then the last was, and this I've always been fascinating, seeing some of your pictures on your website of you working with animals. And I know you expressed that you use the BEST,
yes,
mostly, but what got you into working with animals, and do you see an immediate success?
Well, I guess what got me started was just patients who had animals that had issues, and just practicing on them. I did get a couple of certifications. One, there is an animal best technique, but I'm able, in the way that I do muscle testing, I'm able to also do that when I tap into animals, so I can again pinpoint the little areas that they might have those emotional glitches. And it's interesting, obviously the animal doesn't hold their breath or think of the words or whatever, but the energy, and this would be a whole other talk about how the energy works. The energy of even me and the animal's owner thinking of a certain word, and me putting my hands on this certain place. I'm Reiki attuned, so I have maybe a little stronger energy than the average person, but it can, I mean, attitude, the very first time I did it with a horse was because this was a rescue horse who would not, whenever it came to a puddle of water, she would stop and go around the water. And so we went through different cycles of emotional clearing, and eventually she was, I mean, this was within one session, she was walking through the puddles. And so it was really fun. I did get an equine horse certification for craniosacral, which is a whole different technique we didn't talk about much. But just to really take pressure off the whole body system through an energetic way, and what a difference it can make for even face shape. Just move, you know, if a leg isn't seem to be working right, it can just really make a difference in those ways.
Thank you. You know, it's interesting. You talked a lot about just like the mood and the relaxation. And as you address those, how would you feel better? And I had heard in years past that a lot of times people won't necessarily put body lotion on, and they don't put body lotion on because they don't like the way their legs look. And yet, if they were to put a specific targeted action toning lotion on them that works to that, but the fact that they're touching them and that they are healing that area a little bit more. I think of our eye petals, well, which is what I call them. They're our hydrogel eye patches, but how soothing they are to that part of the eye, and then our biocellulose mask, that it just refreshes you. And sometimes we just need that 20-minute pick me up so that we can go on with our day. So I can't thank you enough for helping and joining in with us tonight, Dr. Christine. I really appreciate it. And we have a code word that we give during our session so that we know if people really have listened to them, but also if they have further questions, then we can always refer them back to you. So our code word for tonight is Simplified. And although Dr. Wakefield is no longer taking new patients in office, she does work with modern day healthcare via telehealth. And they have live video appointments. And I happened to go in and take a peek at that. And her Facebook page is Christine Wakefield, DC. And then the initials CFMP. And you can schedule online at moderndayhealthcare.com. So join us next week for Peek into Pink, February 23rd at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And again, Christine, thanks for joining in. See ya.
Thank you.
You're welcome.